Where do you have Patrick Mahomes on the all-time quarterbacks list? I'm not a huge rankings guy,
Man. Yeah,
but
yeah.
I pretty firmly have him as 2, with a very, very good chance of being 1 when he decides to hang it up. I'm not ready to do that yet, because I want to see what he's doing when he's 38, 39 years old, the way Tom Brady was doing. If he's out there playing at a crazy high level in 10 years, book it. Book it.
Sure.
But at least in terms of skill, we need to see no more. Like, he clearly has the skill, but he needs, get some more accolades, some more longevity. But I think he's already surpassed Joe Montana. And I think damn well looking back in, 10, 12 years, whenever he decides to hang it up, I think we're going to be talking about Patrick Mahomes as the greatest quarterback in NFL history.
We very well may. For me, the ranking and all GOAT debates come down to what you value the most, because he's obviously behind Brady still. As far as it relates to Joe Montana, I think if you are assuming just reasonable static production for the rest of Mahomes' career, if you assume reasonably that he's going to play until at least 35 or 34 and play this well for the next 6-7 years, he's going to pass Montana. Even if he doesn't win another ring from this point until then, I think even if he is, Montana has 4, Mahomes has 3 now, Mahomes' numbers and the statistical highs that he will reach and already has reached, I think are going to put him past Montana. It's tough for me because I sit here and it's like, okay, when you're doing all-time rankings, are you factoring in what if he retires today? Because all he has to his name is what he's accomplished up until today.
I still think that puts him at 2.
I don't think so. I think if he were to retire today, I think Montana has to stay above him just because of the longevity of it. But I think Mahomes...
he kind of stunk at the end, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, though.
Yeah, that is fair. I think Mahomes, though, if you assume any sort of logical finish to his career, let's say bottom barrel result is he falls off at age 33 and he's just a shell of himself, that's still 5 more seasons of this insane production. He's probably going to win another ring in there. I think Mahomes has likely entrenched himself as a top 2 quarterback of all time already. I mean, look, if you're a ring guy, he's only behind Brady, Montana, and Terry Bradshaw now. He's tied with Troy Aikman with 3. I think, true. He's going to pass Montana. Like, barring an Andrew Luck type of retirement, he's going to pass Montana on everybody's list at some point. Joe Montana, fun fact, has never thrown for 4,000 passing yards in a season. That blew my mind. Mahomes throws for 4,000 in his fucking sleep. Different league, different day and age, all that, sure, but still funny.
The thing is, though, it's so hard to compare in every sport. Like, even like the whole LeBron Jordan debate. It's a different game. All these baseballs the same way. It's fluid.
I've always felt that way.
So that's why I'm not a huge fan of kind of like ranking the GOATs like that, because it's just so hard. Like baseball, impossible. It's fucking impossible.
All the people that are like Babe Ruth couldn't hit a curveball. I'm like, well, you never let him try. Like he didn't exist in this era.
Like, going on a tangent here, like Babe Ruth. Yeah, Babe Ruth. Like Adam Ottavino would make Babe Ruth shit his pants.
Sure.
But that's not who Babe Ruth was facing. It's about when you were playing and who you're facing in that time. And Babe Ruth was probably the most dominant baseball player of any era. It just so happened he's playing against Tungsten Arm O'Doyle and a bunch of other funny nickname guys. But I'm getting off track here. But my point is basically that it's just so hard to compare. Like, of course, you look at Patrick Mahomes, Joe Montana. Like, you watch them. Who's the better quarterback? It's probably Patrick Mahomes. But in context, what Joe Montana was able to accomplish is remarkable. And I think Mahomes goes ahead of him just because the fact that he's done all this at 28 is so impressive. Is just so impressive. That he's made the AFC Championship game every year since he's been a starter is nuts. Like, we talked about the 49ers floor. This Chiefs floor is like 2 steps from the top of the house. Yeah. Like, their floor is insane. And we saw that. We talked about it all. Oh, Chiefs high floor, their luck will break now. Some team will have to play great. And it never happened. And, looking out next year, seeing what happens, we may be in the same spot being like, oh, the Chiefs aren't great, but they've got this high floor. Well, we need to remember this, that they went out there and, like someone asked me like, oh, is this a big upset? And I'm like, well, I'm like, yes and no, but not even really yes. Like, they were the 3rd seed, but they're the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They're the Chiefs. I don't care if they were the 7th seed. Like, they're the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. You can never count them out. And a lot of people counted them out.
Yeah, I do think it's a lot easier to say that now confidently, that you can never rule the Chiefs out. This is who they are. They are basically the new Patriots, at least for as long as Andy Reid's around. Whereas, up until this year, yeah, they had 2 rings, and that's incredibly impressive in its own right. But that doesn't necessarily establish you as this just ironclad, always going to be the team to beat, just unbeatable sort of essence that they have become. So I think, now they've established themselves as that, and they're going to be that going forward. We are never going to be fully duped again by a Chiefs team that underperforms for one reason or another in the regular season, and I think for good reason. Now it's going to make it very funny coming up in the next following years if we do have, a Chiefs kind of mid record. I mean, they went 11-6, which is just horrific for them. If we have another year where they do something like that and look bad, I don't think anybody will, or at least should, react as like, oh, the Chiefs are done. Like, the Chiefs now have pre-Super Bowl benefit of the doubt. Like, until they are proven that they aren't going to make the Super Bowl, they need to be believed that they at least have a chance, no matter how bad or mid or underperforming they may look for various reasons in the coming years. So, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is very much, to circle back here, going to be in that GOAT conversation. And it's, for him, I mentioned longevity as far as him passing Montana. Longevity will be what I'm fascinated to see as far as his pursuit to surpass Tom Brady. Because
I think that's the big thing.
Brady, as we know, played to an unprecedented age at a high level. I mean, up until even his last year, he was at least statistically productive with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we had never seen before somebody play until age 4. I believe he was the league leader in passing yards in his age 44 season. Like, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
And you assume, medicine and ways to take care of your body are only going to get better. That's why we are seeing players in every sport play later and later and later as we get older. What will it be when Patrick Mahomes gets to that age? It could be even better.
The other thing is, people call Tom Brady a system quarterback, saying like, oh, he only did what he did because of Belichick. Well, what happened to Belichick when Tom Brady left?
Oh, don't get me started.
And
don't
what
get me
happened
started
when
on
Tom
that.
Brady left? He won another fucking Super Bowl. And in age 43 season? 42, 43 season?
43, I think
so
it was.
That's
43 or 44.
You can't just say it now like, oh, Brady just was only good because he was in that system. No, that is clearly not the case.
I will get into a Belichick tangent at some point and defend my boy, but I will say the narrative since has certainly been beneficial to Tom Brady and his bid to keep the GOAT title, I guess, for until further notice, until Mahomes really fully knocks him off that pedestal, and that'll take several years at the very least.
If Tom never leaves the Patriots, if Tom retires as a Patriot, that narrative would probably have never been debunked. People would have been calling Brady a Belichick merchant and or whatever the kids are using these days, and then but it's true though that Mahomes isn't going to have Andy Reid for this long, so we are going to get to see probably a much longer period outside of at least the Andy Reid system.
Yeah, the other thing I think about too, and this is definitely looking too far ahead, but it's like, okay, let's say we give Reid until 70, right? Until that's when he wants to retire. That is 5 years. One thing we don't factor in a lot is that the Patriots did have a 10-year drought of Super Bowls, which that is longer than you might think when you think back to the Patriots. So what if the Chiefs don't have that drought and they just win 2 more in the next 5 years before Reid retires? Like, that's more than possible. We are truly entering a sort of uncharted territory with just how good the Chiefs are, especially, and this is another point I haven't brought up, in maybe the most loaded AFC in terms of quarterbacks that we've ever seen. All the good quarterbacks are in the AFC. You rank the top 5 quarterbacks, every single one is in the AFC unless you are wrong. That's how it is. So it's just even more impressive that Mahomes is doing this.
Before I would put an NFC guy in there, and
2 years ago, I maybe wrongly so, I bought into the hype too much. I would have had Jalen Hurts in the top 5 somewhere. Now that's kind of been dispelled a little bit. I still have him at maybe 6 or 7, but the top 5 are in some order are Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar. Herbert's still somewhere. I don't know where. Aaron Rodgers, if he plays and is any semblance of what he once was, like
CJ
the AFC. CJ Stroud, yes, thank you. Yeah, it's incredibly loaded. It is absolutely wild. So the Chiefs, they're here. If you guys hadn't heard.